States. Now a look at what's ahead on CNN Headline News.
American sailors in the Mediterranean forego their leave as tensions heat up in Iraq. Dan Quayle says he's here to stay. And Middle East peace talks take James Baker to Lebanon.
Those stories and more in just 2 minutes. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us this half hour. I'm Don Harrison. Around the world in 30 minutes. This is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
The Waltons Museum. I'll look at what's ahead on CNN Headline News.
A new strategy of sorts for Ross Perot. Strong words and actions against Cuba from President Bush. And a chance to win $10 million, only if you're buying.
Those stories and more in 2 minutes. Stay with us. I'm Don Harrison. Around the world in 30 minutes, this is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
Now a look at what's coming up on CNN Headline News.
Iraq's prime minister says Western threats will not intimidate his government. Vice President Dan Quayle insists he will not be dumped by his boss. And the latest figures on out-of-work Americans will not reassure voters about the economy.
Those stories and more in 2 minutes. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lynn Vaughn. Around the world in 30 minutes. This is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
And shipped to Washington. Now here's a look at what's ahead on CNN Headline News.
What did the surveys say about the Democrats' dream ticket? British police crack down on rioters in Bristol. And a California woman decides what to do after the Supreme Court rules on her request to use a controversial abortion pill.
Those stories and more in 2 minutes. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Walker. Around the world in 30 minutes, this is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
Headline News.
U.S. taxpayers rally against government waste. UN weapons inspectors get down to business in Iraq. And world leaders say goodbye to one of their own.
We'll have those stories and a lot more just ahead. Thanks for joining us. I'm Charles Ziwi. Around the world in 30 minutes. This is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
She likes me. I mean, I can get really close to her and she just don't move.
Carlos doesn't want to move Mama either, but he's afraid the nest may eventually fall. So Project Wildlife has volunteered to help move the nest to safety in the next couple of days. Until then, Mama Bird will just keep on trucking.
I'm gonna miss this bird.
In San Diego, Dave Scott, CNN.
Coming up in the next half hour on Headline News, flowers and fond memories of a beloved First Lady. Could Singapore's caning penalties be imitation in the United States? And what does life in the working world hold for people leaving the armed forces? We'll have that and more after a short break. I'm Jack Womack, and this is Headline News.
Before the public decides that royal dirty laundry looks just like everybody else's. Vicki Barker, CNN, London.
Coming up at the top of the hour on Headline News, on the campaign trail, President Clinton takes aim at Republicans and they fire back. A surprising report on the state of the nation's health care and portraits of despair and survival by battered women. Those stories and Bob Lozier in 2 minutes. I'm Judy Fortin. A whole day's news every half hour. This is Headline News.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
They works.
With Now Showing, I'm Jack Womack.
Coming up in the next half hour, a look back at the life of actress Jessica Tandy. What lies ahead now that the U.S. says diplomatic efforts with Haiti are over, and a government program that helps disabled farmers get back in the fields. Bob Lozier will have those stories in just 2 minutes. I'm Robin Johnson, and you're with Headline News.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
With Now Showing, I'm Jack Womack.
These stories coming up next on Headline News. U.S. forces are on edge after a deadly shootout in Haiti. A Parisian cultural treasure is in trouble. And a modern-era cowboy who's drawing praise for his literary aim. Those stories and more with Bob Lozier after a short break. I'm Valerie Hoff. A whole day's news every half hour. This is Headline News.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.